Hey folks, I'm a little bit off the grid this week, but this week I'm bringing you an interview I did recently with my friend Shannon Noll. Now you think, what's a musician going to help us in real estate? But I'm telling you, Shannon's industry has been through hell and back over the last couple of years. Shannon himself, over the last few years, has been through almost a cancel culture nightmare in his social media presence, but he's managed to find a way not only to get through it, but to have the best-selling album, like right now, in his musical career. So he's found a way to not only survive but thrive in certainly less than ideal conditions. So let's go to this amazing interview I shot with my friend Shannon Noll. You want the normal real estate training you've been told a million times? Make cold calls, knock on doors? Best be switching off now, because in this podcast we go out of the box using unknown tactics, primarily that the real estate industry's never heard of, in order to get you called in more often, convert those listings and get more success without the painful cold calling. Listen up, we're in for a ride. This is Real Estate Renegades. And hey, remember, before we get to Nolsey, remember this episode brought to you by agentprospecting.com.au. So remember, that's if you want your prospecting done for you, meaning instead of you making the cold calls, instead of you doing the Facebook lead generation, my team will. Highly qualified. That way you can outsource your prospecting for less than the cost of a third of a wage or a quarter of a wage or something. So real affordable. agentprospecting.com.au. Now, over to Nolsey.
Mr. Noll, how are you, good sir?
G'day, mate. How are you?
Mate, good, bud. You're a bloody champion doing this for us, man.
No, you're right, mate. All good. No worries at all.
Where are we there? Who's that in the background?
Oh, that's Carter, the eldest, mate. We're just out in the studio, so this is part of his little area.
Beautiful. Well, Shannon, Shannon.
Hey there. How are you?
How are you going? Good, thanks. How are you?
Good, thanks. We were just talking about your Facebook page and how awesome it is with all the comments.
Yeah. No,
Did you take that guy's esky back?
Oh, mate, one of hundreds.
Yeah, I know. You must have a lot of eskies.
Yeah, I reckon I've got a shed somewhere full of slippers and mowers and eskies and whatever
the mowers.
Harry Potter box set.
It's so funny. But anyway.
Well, we were talking. I mean, guys, Australia's favourite son, Shannon Noll. I'm honoured that you've jumped on with us here today, buddy. And but we were talking earlier. One of the things I wanted to ask you, so I may as well segue straight into that. How not only is Shannon a great musician, great songwriter, great performer. What I loved, Shannon, is your social media presence. It built a life of its own, didn't it? Like someone must have made this joke, and it almost became a formulaic thing that whenever Shannon, go and have a look at his page, and it's still going on to this day, although there was a couple of years there where it was rife, where they'd say, hey, Shannon, me old mucker, with some sort of Aussie slang. I bet this isn't the first time you had your old cobber, blah, 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 some sort of insult or whatever. Just flogging your chain, mate, but give me me ex-ski back or something that you supposedly borrowed. And but there was thousands of these people. And then I love how you lent into it. You didn't fight it, you lent into it. Tell us a little bit about what that's done for your profile. Yeah,
mate, it was really strange how it came about. There's a week of songwriting in town. Like there used to be. It was 50 songs in 5 days. And every Wednesday night there was a US producer there who would cook fish tacos. And anyway, consequently, I'd come home every night. So I made them at home one night, not thinking anything of it. And I was pretty proud of them. So I did a big photo, post online saying, check out the fish tacos. And of course, then it straight away went, I bet that's not the first fish taco. No. So I just went on, no, because I didn't even think about that at the time. Anyway, then about 2 weeks later, I was working in the studio in King's Cross, and I found this $5 note. Anyway, it had stains and rips out of it, and I just thought the character this $5 note had, I'd love to like it's had a life of its own, So then everybody started going, oh, that's my $5 note. I'll get it off you next time I see you. So then this thing was created that it started off with some sort of sexual connotation. I bet that's not the first time you old shagger or something like that. And then it would go into, oh, by the way, while I've got you, can I get that mower back? And then after that, this algorithm was created, and people vied for the top likes. So there's a real competitive nature became of it to try and get the most likes for the funniest comment. So people really, really put a lot of time in and a lot of thought to try and come up with the top comment after I post something every time. So it was just great traffic, and I got to the end where I started baiting them a little bit. You know, we went down and seen my horse, and I said, "Oh, I love great horse, this one. I just had shame I didn't have time to ride her." And they went, "Oh, but that's not the first filly." Oh no! And then it goes on and on every time I posted something. So it was really great. The numbers went through the roof. I went from 180,000 or something on Facebook to upwards of nearly 300,000 now.
Yeah, bloody hell, mate.
Wow.
And I tell you, you're right about that creativity, because I tried to write a couple, and I tell you what, man, you've got some comedic geniuses that follow you,
Absolutely.
because some of that creativity was just,
they were brilliant.
wow, that could be TV comedy writers, some of these buggers.
Yeah, absolutely. And the best thing I think about it was there was no malice in it. It was all just tongue in cheek, good old Aussie taking a Mickey humour. But there was no nastiness or no cruelty in any of it. You know, it was all just really above board, just having a real good joke and letting the strength of the comedy come through and the humour without actually being mean or nasty, which is pretty rare on social media these days, but very, very welcome. You know, I think it's a great breath of fresh air, to be honest.
Yeah, well, mate, we've had some conversations about what all this current climate has done to, you know, the music industry in particular, you know, your band members and things. You know, we've sort of swapped some messages about what can we do. What have you seen, you know, on social? What have you identified? What have you seen in your industry and things where, because you just said it about how it seems like, you know, where's that Aussie humour gone? You know, where's that in favour of all this political correctness and infighting and governmental dictated mandates and things of that nature? You know, is the Aussie humour got a hope of surviving this craziness?
Well, mate, it's definitely under attack at the moment, that's for sure. I think the old days of having, you know, like I go back home and it's a free-for-all, you know, the boys are sort of fairly well match fit, and you get torn to pieces as soon as you walk in there with them having a go at you, you know what I mean? But that's always, I think you find that in any environment, in any small town or any group of friends, you know, but it's slowly getting, they're trying to weed it out, I suppose. And it's a real shame, because it seems there's no room for the Aussie larrikin anymore, who can have a joke at himself mainly, but also have a joke at others too. You know, someone's always getting offended, which makes me laugh, because, you know, well, you can be offended, but nothing really happens. It's not as if being offended is a death sentence or anything like that, you know. People have been getting offended for hundreds of years, and all of a sudden now, because of social media, I suppose, you know, they can get on there and one you know, complaint or anything like that can be the undoing of a whole network of things these days. So it seems to me like the squeaky wheel gets the oil, and it's instead of the bigger and larger group in society don't tend to say too much, the ones who don't, you know, who can have a joke and that sort of thing, but it's the small ones who have the biggest voice at the moment, I suppose. But, you know, I think it's borderlining on just stupidity, some of it, you know what I mean? But, you know, hopefully we can just start, you know, I think not let it get too far, because it's starting to get borderline ridiculousness, I think.
Yeah, agreed, mate. And I certainly want to talk to you about the new album Raw. I've ordered a whole bunch for you guys, and Shannon's personally signed them. So I've got a whole bunch of the new album coming that we're going to give away when they arrive. Autographed by Shannon, mate. Are these reproductions, or did you personally sign these sons of guns?
I know, I personally signed them, mate. Every one of them. I did. Sat down the other day and did 700 or something in a couple of hours, but I haven't had to do it for a while, because this will probably be the last physical CD I'll probably ever do. They don't do, it's fairly rare for anyone to do physical CDs anymore. It's all download and digital.
It's a shame, mate. I tell you, it's the end of an era, you know, because I like having the physical thing to go on my shelf. I like, you know, I even like that. I'm glad there's been a bit of a vinyl renaissance, because I like the album being a bit bigger. So if you meet Shannon Noll, you can sign the album and then it's a piece of art. Because even a CD or a tape is a bit smaller. Now it's just gone.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. I mean, you look at vinyls. Some vinyls today are worth an absolute mint. You know, some legendary albums from the 70s and 80s and that sort of thing. And I think it's having that thing that's tangible that you can have in your cupboard and you just know it's there. Like, I mean, it's the same thing a little bit with photos and that these days. You got all your photos on your phone, you lose your phone, and then they're all gone. I used to love as a kid. We had all the photo albums in the cupboard, you know, and Mum used to keep all the newspaper clippings with my brother playing footy over in Wagga and stuff like that. So it was a great thing to have, that you could just go and open up and have a look and go through all those memories at any time. But now you sort of, because you put all the photos on a USB stick and then that gets lost somewhere, and you just you can lose so many great memories so easily. So I think it's a bit of a sad movement towards everything that's just digital and nothing physical anymore.
Yeah, yeah. And I know that it's, look, this kind of, for some of the folks that are on, you know, we got everyone on that's got a variety, both now and when people watch the replay. Give us the short version of your origin story, if you will, where, you know, you took sort of coming second and made a lifelong, one of the most successful careers in Australian music out of being the runner-up on one of those early reality shows. Like, give us the short version and bring it up to speed if someone's on there saying, who's this Aussie larrikin bloke? Hey, who's he?
Yeah, no worries, mate. Yes, I went on Australian Idol the very first season in 2003, and got down and ended up coming second. But I sort of got down to the finale, and I'd looked at what the other countries had done. The runner-up and the first place winner in the States had both been signed. First and second was signed in the UK as well. So I had I was fairly confident that something was going to happen from it. You know, you didn't necessarily have to come in first place. I mean, you didn't win any prize money or anything like that for second, obviously. Damn it. But just the opportunity itself was a wonderful thing, you know. And I think so. Just from there, I sort of had a bit more time than Guy to do some albums and things like that. And yeah, so I took the opportunity and just run with it, you know. But I hit the road straight away. I did 90 odd shows, 110 shows that first year, and I've done around 100 nearly every year. From, I think, live touring is the main place where you can actually maybe make some money in the business, even though you sort of pay all the costs and all the expenses and everything, and whatever's left is yours to take home. And sometimes there's a little bit, sometimes there's a lot, but it varies, you know. But especially with digital downloads and things like that these days, you know, for a stream these days we get 0.004 of a cent for each stream. So 1 million streams equates to $4,000. So on the royalty side of things, it's worse now than it's ever been. It's a bit strange when, you know, the owner or the CEO of Spotify, who's 32 or something, is worth more than Paul McCartney. You know something's up.
Wow.
So, you know, yeah, it's so live, but they pass the money on. Of course they do, you know. Yeah, obviously. But you know, they're all a bit the same. 0.09 of a cent is an Apple Music, I think. So it's all a bit tough these days. But you need to get the music out there to promote the tours and promote the shows, which has always been the way. But I think live touring is where it's at. You can't fake that. And I think the vibe people get from the live shows is something very unique and something very special. And I think obviously with this pandemic and that, it's been an attack on live shows and public gatherings in general, which has made things extremely hard. But people have adapted a little bit with their streaming platforms and stuff like that, you know. But it's been a bit tough all the way through, but you know, I think hopefully there's light at the end of the tunnel with things starting to open up, except for the poor guys down in Melbourne and Victoria. They've just had an absolute horrendous run, and it seems to be continuing. So my heart goes out to everybody down there. Yeah, because I've got gigs coming up that people can't get to from Melbourne now, and sort of all a bit over the shop. But yeah, thoughts and prayers with the guys down there, and hope that they can hang in there and get to the stage where the government knows what they're doing, and hopefully put all this behind us a little bit.
Yeah, I can't wait for that day. Hey, mate, you're no stranger to dealing with a bit of shit thrown at you, right? Like I remember you were telling me that even some of the iconic musicians they even slung some crap your way because of the manner with which you came to public prominence. And then, you know, a couple of indiscretions, like some lunatic throwing a full can of beer at you, and you reacted understandably and logically in a way that I could certainly say, holy crap, that could be a lethal weapon thrown at this poor bugger. He got into someone. So you've had both your peers and the public and the media throw some crap at you, and yet you've remained you, and you haven't been cancelled. Like, you've remained you, you've remained relevant, you've taken the knocks. How have you done that kind of mentally? Because as the country now, we're copping whacks from some of our friends and some of our former friends and all of that. Have you got any insights as to how you got through that, or is that just the country spirit that made you grow up in the country? This ain't nothing compared to the shit we copped.
Mate, I don't know, but there was like 35 cans too, but not just one.
Was it? Because didn't you
Oh,
catch one
wow.
or something and throw it
right
back?
at the start. I caught one just before I even opened my mouth to start singing. Someone threw one. I caught it. I probably went. That probably didn't do me any favors. But yeah, I asked them to stop 5 times, and got to the point where the one nearly, I just didn't see it coming, and it whizzed past my eyelid, and it actually frightened the Jesus out of me. That's why I sort of reacted the way I did. But you got to get a tough skin with all that sort of thing. I read a message on Twitter the other day. I don't go on Twitter much because I think people on Twitter are fairly more nasty sometimes. Some bloke did a post that said my father passed away, and he wrote a letter before he died for me and my 2 brothers to read after he'd passed away, and he said, and he dedicated a whole paragraph to how much he hates Nosey.
Oh, really?
I went, well, that's a new one. You'd think you'd spend that paragraph trying to write something a little more
Reflect on his
I don't
life.
know, but back in, he must have had some deep-seated hatred, that fella, from whatever he's seen. I must have might have played against him at some stage. I don't know, but yeah, I think, you know, the industry itself hated the process. They hated the way that, you know, people could sing on TV for 12 weeks and then be top in the charts, you know, which I can understand, you know, but the top 12 who made it through in my year, we'd all been touring and playing live in bands for at least 5 to 6 years before that. So we weren't anything, to say the least, singing in the shower the week before we went on the show, if you know what I mean. So I can understand their disdain for the show, but, you know, hate the game, don't hate the player, as they say. But, you know, and yeah, I suppose with the public and the media thing, I was very annoyed about, because they misrepresented things on all 3 accounts, and didn't talk about the actual details of what went on, i.e. the 1 can. That was the main consensus from the media, but like I just explained, it was there was 35 cans on stage at the end of the set. Like, I seen them, one hit the keyboard and they just explode because they were half full of beer. A rum bottle hit my bass player in the chest, and empty rum bottle. So it was a real, you know, nasty. But they didn't hear anything about that in the media stories about it, you know, which was a shame. So, you know, I think me knowing the full story in my own mind of what actually happened on those nights helped me get through a lot of that and put a lot of that negativity behind me, because I knew that they were misinformed, and whether they were intentionally delivering the story or the made-up story, their made-up story, which, you know, I think is the fake news, which I think this day and age we're seeing a lot of that with a lot of different things in the media, you know, especially with this COVID stuff. You know, we're seeing footage from some other hospital in another country saying it's the Melbourne hospital and all this sort of thing. So it's hard to believe anything you see these days. But yeah, I think the biggest thing for me was knowing full well 100% what actually happened on all accounts, and I wasn't angry with myself. I went a bit far with the abusing the guy, but, you know, like I said, my wife was pregnant. We're just about to have our 4th child, and and this can flew past my head from 40 metres out into the crowd, and it was half full of beer. And I generally panicked and just thought, wow, that would have killed me. Like, we just had 6 months before that, we'd had a cricketer die from a cricket ball, you know, and this is a half full can, which would probably have as much force and thrown from 40 metres away. So, you know, anything could have happened if it had hit me in the face. And took an eye out or something like that. So that was out of sheer fright. What is it? The
fight or flight.
Fight
When
or
those
flight.
hormones are going through your body, you can't be responsible for reacting, mate. That is a big responsibility to expect you to say, "Now, gentlemen, come on
can
now."
you stop that, please? Yeah, exactly. I think, but funnily enough, as bad as it looked, looking back on it and how it was represented in the media, I struggled with that mentally for a long time, trying to forgive myself for that, because I felt I'd let everyone down, embarrassed myself, which I had, and embarrassed my family and all that sort of thing. And even though at the point in time, I just wanted to get my hands on the guy, because he's sitting back going, "Yeah, it was me, I did it." Yeah. So that added fuel to the fire, of course, too. But what I did find was just in being in general public, a lot of people came up to me and congratulated me for not putting up with it, and they said, "Oh, you're a better man than me. I'd have jumped into the crowd and chased him down." So I think a lot of people saw that the stupidity in the act itself, and didn't just focus on the reaction, which I was, the media focused on the reaction, where the general public focused a lot more on the act, which made me, was really great for me. So, and how I would have liked it to have been if they were ever going to be honest and truthful about the whole situation.
Yeah, 100%. It certainly makes you think when you personally know, here are the facts and here's the way it's reported. Now, whenever you see facts being reported, you must look at it saying, well, what's missing from that story now? Because I know what they did personally,
Yeah,
So-
absolutely, mate. And that's I mean, it's all depending on where you're placed. Obviously, I was after the show was really big and successful and all that sort of thing, and it gets to a point where you no longer need it a little bit, I suppose, or you don't have the power anymore. So people are much more willing to to attack you in that way, or sort of sensationalize something to try and benefit their own ratings. You know what I mean? So it's just part of the beast and the machine that is media, I suppose. So you just got to roll with it and try and now, of course, now with social media and things like that, you can actually get your side of the story out, which is something I really regret, because the old school way of doing things in the music industry is, if there's any controversy, just go to water, go underground, disappear. So nowadays, I think there's a better way of handling it. You can come out and you can go on your own page and go, look, this is what actually happened. You can tell your side of the story and try and educate people as best you can on what your perception of events were. So it's a great way to be able to do that now.
Unless you're George Michael, he wrote a song about it, remember?
Did he write a song about that? Oh,
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah,
Is
going
he-
outside.
Yeah.
Yeah. You should write a song about it. Well, that must make you feel better. Like you must, if ever you're feeling a bit down, go onto your page, type something you know is going to get a reaction, and wait for the funny people. Like that'd be good.
Absolutely. Well,
Instant comedy.
just what we were talking about before, I've given a fair bit of fire over the last couple of years. So I'm sort of not going. It sort of reminds me, a constant reminder of past discrepancies. A little bit. So I sort of steer clear of reading anything these days.
And I'm sure that there would have been more than just me and Chris Gilmore annoying you, texting you with messages of support. I'm sure you had mates like me and Chris that was sort of, we know you're going through some shit. No matter what the reality is, we know they're portraying you. So I'm sure you would have had your fans. And again, I know I was one of them, just probably too many times saying, Noll, we got your back, my man, stay strong and all of that. I'm sure you would have got all of that going on.
Oh, most definitely, mate. And that's just one. I mean, the best thing now in a show of support is the numbers at the shows and that sort of thing. Now, we're getting great. The shows are really great. The shows are going off, and we've got a lot of big festivals coming up. So, it's funny enough, my booking agent at the time of a few of these things went, "Oh, this is awesome." I'm going like, "Really? It doesn't feel awesome." And he's going, "No, in years to come, we'll look back on this as the making of a rock star," because. And then I thought about that, and I thought, well, you look at anybody who's been in the limelight for nearly 20 years, like I sort of have now. A lot of them have had rough times, and that adds to character, and it adds to colour in the story. I think nobody wants to see a beige rock star or anything like that. I don't think so. I think I'm done with them now, but hopefully the controversial stories I've put that behind me. Hopefully. But I think, looking back, you've got to have ups and downs. That's what builds character, and you find out how strong you are as a human being when it comes down to if you're going to just toss in the towel or if you're going to fight for everything you've achieved and fight for your name and fight for your family. I think so. Constantly just getting back in the game and picking yourself up, dusting yourself off, and throwing yourself back in the ring.
Ripper, man.
Gives you context, doesn't it? It gives you depth in, you relate to other people and all that sort of thing. And like you said, you're not beige.
Yeah,
certainly not beige. And mate, the new album, mate, you've revisited the past. You've stripped back What About Me. You've got a killer version of Lift on there that I love. You got Shine. You got all the class. Long Live the Summertime's one of the greatest songs an Australian's ever written. Like fantastic work. What was the thinking behind the not just doing the greatest hits or whatever, but really stripping them back and reinventing some of those classics?
Well, it's sort of because when at the end of last year we had a lot of great summer nights, great southern nights, sorry, initiative from the government where they were helping finance some of the gigs, because we could only have 20 people or 40 people or 70 people, 100 people at a gig, depending on the size of the room. So we could only afford to go out with the acoustic trio, and during that time we thought, well, we do a lot of these shows and they're so much fun because they're so much more intimate. I get to have a bit of tell some stories and have a bit of a laugh and joke with the crowd, and it's sort of much more laid back vibe. And we thought, this is a pretty cool idea for an album. So we decided to just do a lot of the big ones, more or less the same set that we do with the acoustic trio. So I mean, I've done those couple of shows for you guys with the acoustic trio, and so we just thought, well, this sort of it's a good formula that works, so we should try it on an album. And then we'd put a couple of covers on there as well, and then two originals as well. So it was just a great little opportunity because we couldn't really go in and work in a studio to record a new album or even write with people. We couldn't hardly leave our house or anything like that, and no one was traveling, and no one wanted to travel, and we were trying to do writing sessions on Zoom, but it was just really, I found it difficult because you're always talking over each other and things like that. So to be able to have something to sink my teeth into during that time was really beneficial for me to sort of be able to have something out. And this is the final product of that experience. And yeah, I'm really, really proud of it.
Rightly so, mate. I mean, guys, head to, I'll get the website off Shannon. What's the website, mate, if people want to grab a copy?
ShannonNoll.com.au.
So it is at the ShannonNoll.com.au website. Grab a copy. I think there's even a few autographed ones left. I bought a bunch of them. I might have bought the remainder, but no, grab them. But the covers, there's a couple of covers on there. There's a cover, Better Be Home Soon. The cover of Take Me Back, man. I've seen you do that live. One of the all-time great. So suits your voice, man. Fantastic. So, guys, Shannon will make 0.0004 cents if you listen to it on a streaming platform. Go and give the champion $40 or whatever it is. And help a bloody legend out who's been amazing to our group. Shannon just mentioned he's done me mates rates to come and perform for you guys, meet you guys, come and we played at Chris Gilmore's Christmas party, and the crazy bastard got Chris up on stage and sang "What About Me" with him.
For sure, mate. It was his Christmas party, so I thought I better look after him.
Fantastic, man. So, guys, ShannonNoll.com. Go and grab yourself a .com or .com.au or both.
I think so, mate. Both. I think .com.au.
.com.
I think it is.
Yeah, oh no, I've just gone in and it's .com. I've got it. I put it in there for the chat for everyone.
There you go. So, guys, go and grab a copy. ShannonNoll.com. The new album's raw. It is stripped back. It is awesome. If you're a fan of Shannon, it's required listening because the reinvention of those songs is amazing. My favorite Shannon song, "Lift." Well, mate, that should be the anthem for Australia. We got a lift right now, Mate, well done on everything.
Well, mate, true. Yeah, absolutely. No worries, for sure. Yeah. Thank you, buddy. I appreciate it, mate. And I've always loved your events. They're always a lot of fun. So, so thanks for that too. And thanks for supporting the album.
You're a bloody champion, mate. I can't wait to get all my physical copies. It's been on bloody binge mode on the Spotify. I couldn't wait to get the CDs, but boy, oh boy, I can't wait for the physical ones, my man.
Good on you, buddy. Thanks so much.
Thanks,
bro.
Nolte.
You're a champion, mate.
Thanks,
Talk
guys.
soon, my man.
See ya.
Hey folks, if you liked that episode, I hope you did. How cool is that guy? So charismatic, so lovable, and his new album's great, so grab it, raw. If you liked it though, make sure you subscribe, make sure you whack that alarm bell so you don't miss out on all of this amazing, good, free stuff coming to you soon with Real Estate Renegades. Bye for now, folks. Wow. Well, there you go. I hope you liked the episode. If you liked that, then what you need to do is you need to subscribe. You need to get more of this craziness because we got more coming. I'm never standing still, and we've got so many more guests. We've got so many more strategies, more out-of-the-box thinking. So if you haven't subscribed, literally, you're like throwing away thousands of dollars. So I tell you, if you haven't subscribed, you don't come back, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to find you, I'm going to market to you, and I'm going to charge you for the very stuff that on this podcast we give away for free. So whack that subscribe button on whatever your favorite podcast weapon of destruction is, and we'll see you on the next episode. Bye for now.